Division 2, but I'm point blank one tapping everything in sight while my skills are getting kills. They'll aggro, litter the floor with bodies and memento trophies. They'll even proc my armor on kill. And then there's the ever so satisfying sucker punch.
A sucker punch is a punch made without warning or while the recipient is distracted.
That's what I'm talking about.
You get a sucker punch, you get a sucker punch, and you get a sucker punch. Can I sucker punch my way through heroic and legendary content? Stick around to find out. And we're starting right now. So many headshot kills are at point blank while the enemy is completely distracted by my skills that there is no better name for this build than the sucker punch. Even when they're charging right at you, the results are the same.
Oh, for the head!
This is a close quarter combat, one tap, point blank, hybrid skill build. Like nothing else out there. You have double threat skill damage with your turret and drone, up to 347% headshot damage. You heard that right. 25% bonus weapon damage on kill with 30% more bonus weapon damage at full stacks on your backpack. All coming together to give you one tap chain killing capabilities that stacks your total damage output by 1,250%, which means you're hitting over 26 million in damage. That's insane. And while you're one-tapping fools from one to the next, your skills are laying waste to the rest of the battlefield and littering the place, literally littering the place with memento trophies. Defensively, you will have up to 1.1 million armor, 10% armor on kill, 20% bonus armor, and 4% armor regen. And banditos, this is what it looks like when all that power and survivability comes together. And whether you're playing solo or in group, heroic or in legendary, the results are the same. I'll be showing you gameplay of both, but let's start with the build. I have two build variations for you to choose from based on your playstyle. This one has more power, which makes it more suitable for solo and legendary. The other has more survivability, making it more well-rounded for solo and group content. I recommend the White Death named marksman rifle for this build. One, you need to have access to your mods so exotics won't work. Two, it has 137% headshot damage as a core attribute, which is nasty. I definitely recommend damage to targets out of cover on it for the multiplicative damage modifier. This is a hybrid skill damage build, so I went with Insync to buff my weapon and skills by 30% damage. You can also go with Future Perfect to add skill tiers, but that doesn't buff your weapon, and I wanted both. I started out with the other named MMR, the Scalpel, that has the perfect version of Future, but the base damage is about 300,000 or so less, and that didn't make me smile. As you can see here, we're starting at over 1 million base damage. Now, the mods are an important detail for sucker punching. You basically want to spec into weapon handling. Now, if you're more of a casual player and play mid to long range, then you can equip the digital scope for an additional 45% headshot damage. That's how you get to 347% headshot damage on this build. But if you want to do what you see happening in this video, then go with the reflex sight for 5% handling. Here, you will be at 302% headshot damage, which is more than enough for most elites and named bosses. You must run the sharpshooter specialization if you want access to the digital scope, but you also want the breathe control passive talent, which is going to help you land those shots on the fly. You will also have 15% more headshot damage from this specialization. I have the Punch Drunk named DNH mask because it has a 20% headshot damage attribute on it. I rolled skill damage to crank the skills and put a headshot damage mod. These are 2 of the 3 attributes you want to max out everywhere. The gloves are my first piece of Airialdi for 10% marksman rifle damage. It has more skill damage and headshot damage. This is actually a very common drop that kept getting a ton of these. The holster is my second piece for 15% more headshot damage, and the attributes are the same as the gloves. You need 1 piece of Providence for more headshot damage, and I have it on the chest. Otherwise, the attributes are consistent with the other pieces. The talent is Headhunter, and that is important. This is what allows us to chain kill. Once you get your first headshot kill, it will begin stacking the kill blows damage up to 1,250%. And you see from the gameplay that you will be hitting over 20 million on the regular. There's not too many enemies that are tankier than that, which is why you don't need any more damage than what we have here. The knee pads are improvised. I'll show you alternatives in a second. I have a full set of these improvised gear pieces at a wide variety, so I couldn't tell you how long these took to land. I simply went to the crafting bench daily and crafted a few dozen. I kept the good and tossed the bad until I had a complete set of what I wanted. From there, I re-rolled them and optimized the remainder. I use these for all sorts of builds, including crit damage builds by re-rolling the skill damage out. These save me a ton of farming time and stash space and are well worth the investment. If you don't want to run improvised, you can also equip a third Airialdi for 5% damage to armor. Truth is, most NPCs don't have armor on their face, so it is situational, but an option. You'd be better off running Walker and Harris for more weapon damage. If you go this route, you might be better suited to run the Walker and Harris named chest piece called the Chain Killer, which ups your damage caps for a Headhunter. Then put Providence on your knees instead. That would be the smarter move. But I chose more headshot damage because that's all I want to go for. The backpack is the one and only Memento exotic. We're using everything it has to offer. The trophies are helping us run and gun with damage boosts, bonus armor, and skill damage and efficiency. And when we have collected 30 trophies, it's also giving us 30% more damage, 3% armor regen, and 30% skill efficiency, which includes skill haste duration and skill damage. I know we see this a lot, but it's sort of a no-brainer for these fast run and gun builds. This is what the turret and drone look like on paper. You don't want to go by these numbers though. Remember, this is before the 30% damage buff from InSync on our MMR, and also before the Memento stacks and buffs. Because your rifle is so powerful, hitting over 26 million, you're not overly reliant on your skills, and that was my goal. So have the peace of mind that if your skills are down, you are still a badass sucker puncher. If you love builds that keep you on the edge of your seat and in the zone, then you have to run this one. I want to show you a little bit of gameplay with this build in both heroic group and legendary solo. Notice all the directives here. The enemies get completely distracted by your skills. This allows you to hone in on the back of their skull and off with their head, even when they're coming right at you. We have this configured for quick draw, so you can plug them right between the eyes from ranges so close, you leave them powder burns on their face. Hey Banditos, be sure to join my Discord if you haven't, and I'd appreciate the like, comment, and subscribe if you like what I'm putting down. I got lots more where this came from. Now, when it comes to point blank sniping while your skills are shredding everything in sight, trust me, you don't have to worry about competing for kills to get your trophies in group scenarios. You will be full in no time. Best of all, you will be snagging the trophies as they drop and utilizing the hell out of the short-term buffs. If you find yourself sitting back in cover and not running and gunning, that's fine. The build is strong enough to work that way too. If that is you, then I would put on the magnifying scope so you can get that 347% headshot damage. I know this looks like it requires a crazy amount of skill, and it does, but not that much. I mean, I am playing on an Xbox. It just takes some practice and you will get the feel for it. Remember, councils have aim assist, and when the chest talent is proc, that assist is turned up a bit. Most NPCs will take one to the dome and drop, but elites or heavy armored dudes might need a couple extra rounds of encouragement to yield. If you want a solo legendary, this is the better of the two builds for that. It's not like the capacitor hybrids I put out, like this one, and if you haven't watched it, I'll put a link here and in the description area below. Those builds are balanced between weapon and skills with a slight favor to the skills and allows you to speed through legendary strongholds solo. This is sort of the opposite. It has more damage emphasis to the rifle and is intended for personnel and not robotics. You could also equip the capacitor as your secondary weapon on this build to pump up your skills to deal with those robotics as needed. Build 2 is probably my favorite of the two because it brings in faster recovery with an additional 1% armor regen and 10% armor on kill. The basis is basically the same. We have 2 pieces of Airialdi with marksman rifle damage, headshot damage, and skill damage. And we're running the exact same chest piece as build 1. Of course, we still have the Memento backpack, but what's different is we're running 2 pieces of BELSTONE. The holster is quite unique. It has headshot damage and skill damage, so I could reroll the armor out for more weapon damage to keep the armor totals at 1.1 million. The gloves are the same, except they have armor on them. BELSTONE is easy to farm. If you have to run with high armor, until you get a good drop for the holster, that's okay. The build will still perform. You now have 4% armor regen with 10% armor on kill. And since you're chain killing, that is plenty. The trade-off is you're gonna take a small hit in weapon damage and headshot damage. With the Headhunter talent, however, this is nothing to worry about. But brace yourself for some serious fun. I especially enjoyed this running heroic solo. I mean, it just rocks. Nothing beats that headshot sound and armor on kill, followed by the kill confirmed Memento trophy. 1 shot, 1 kill. Oh, so nice.
Off with the head! Off with his head! Off with his head! Off with his head!
If you like one-tap chain killing, then save a loadout slot for this double shotgun build. It also comes with the turbocharger mode. Just swap to the rock and roll named shotgun and go to town. Tuxedo out.
On everything. Follow me.